G'day, I'm Patrick from Douglas Fir Design. Welcome to the workshop. Today I'm going to run you through the process of oiling a piece like this from start to finish, including staining and buffing and finishing and fixing little bits and pieces. I have a lot of tips and tricks that I can share with you that will help make your life easier when you do a complicated finishing job like this. I'm in the final stages of this record cabinet, and it has been a fairly long build for me, just lots of intricate details. And now I'm at the stage where I need to put some oil on it, so I'm going to take you through that process. Everything is laid out here. I've separated every component so that anything that was screwed together, like the drawer fronts onto the drawer boxes, has been taken off. Any hardware has been taken off, and that is now just in a little bowl here for later so I don't lose them. So all hinges are off, all runners are off. The sliding doors are here, drawer fronts are here. This is the back, and I have drawer boxes, the lid is separated from the top, and everything is separated from the cabinet. To finish this cabinet, I'll be using Evolution Hardwax. This particular project, I tried a number of their stains and couldn't find one that I liked or the client liked, and so we ended up using a different tint. The one that I found that worked for this particular timber was a dark oak by Ruston's at a ratio of about 30%. So you need to do a lot of testing if you're going to be mixing products like this, but most alcohol-based stains will mix into a hard wax fairly effectively, and you just need to figure out the ratio that works best for you. I found that using the dye, the wood dye by Ruston's Neat on the timber led to a lot of staining and blotching where knots or porous areas of the timber just absorbed way too much too quickly. But by diluting it significantly with hard wax, it makes the application far more even, and I can apply it and rub off the excess before it soaks in too deeply, and I get a much more even result. So this cabinet will have 2 coats of oil, one with pigment, and the top coat will not have any pigment. And the first coat will be applied and then rubbed off while it's wet so that there's not areas of dye or pigmented hard wax sitting on the timber for too long. It also lets me get into these really intricate areas and remove any excess with a rag so it's not just sitting in there. So I have everything laid out. Hard wax, which I need to stir. The dye, which I need to shake. I will be weighing it all out on a scale to get the correct measurement. Any flat areas, I'll be applying with this foam roller. It's what I like to use for hard wax. I have a nice, clean, new brush that I'll use to get any excess off. Lots of rags, scissors. With all of my hard waxes, I store them in flexible bags like this. I bought these years ago from Amazon as like flexible sports water bottles. Timbecon actually sells stop loss bags, which are a specific product designed for this purpose. And these are trashed, so I definitely need to get some of those at some point. But storing the hard wax in a flexible bag means you can squeeze the air out, which means the hard wax doesn't go off and it lasts you way longer and you're not just wasting money. So grab some stop loss bags. It just makes such a huge difference to be not I mean, this stuff's expensive and I don't want to throw away a third of a tin because it was just sitting in the can for too long. Stop loss bags solves that problem, so grab some, and I need to get some too. I did tests from 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% roughly of dye, and this was what worked the best. By measuring it out on the scales, it means that I know if I have to mix some more tomorrow or halfway through this process, it's going to be exactly the same. So that's really useful. I mixed that dye into the hard wax at a ratio of 100 grams of hard wax to 30 grams of dye. I put everything onto triangular shaped. The tape means that any finish or stain or paint from the previous job doesn't transfer onto this job. I have some razor blades here. The purpose of those little razor blades is if I encounter an area on the joinery where a little bit of glue is still apparent and that's affecting the stain, or there's some other imperfection, it's usually glue, I can scrape through that while it's wet, rub off the excess with a cloth, and then put the oil straight back onto that place. You might not be able to do that with a polyurethane or a varnish or some other type of finish, but I find Hardwax is a very forgiving and easy product to apply most of the time, especially in a workshop like this that is like dusty, you know? It's not like a pristine finishing environment. All of these pieces will get one coat with stain. I'll let that sit for 24 hours. I will buff it off tomorrow and then apply a second coat of clear oil. This board on the edge here, underneath my face, was just ever so slightly lighter than the other board. It actually kind of changes as you move around. The reflection of the wood is slightly different. So I've just put a little bit more stain on it. It's wetter. It's going to sit there for just about 5 minutes before I rub it off. And that means I can kind of balance the tones of those two pieces of timber. They were the same piece of timber, it's just one end was lighter. I can balance those tones a little more to my liking just by leaving some stain on there for a little bit longer. But you've got to be delicate and you've got to really watch it to make sure that it doesn't look unnatural. As your wiping off cloth gets way too oily, you just need to get rid of it and get a new one. The job of this cloth is to get rid of excess. So if it is full of oil, it's not doing its job. So plenty of rags nearby. This one is now saturated, no longer doing its job. I need a dry one. Earlier I mentioned there's sometimes being little glue spots on the timber. Now I found one and I'm gonna deal with it. You can spot a little spot there where the stain isn't as dark as it should be. All fixed. I don't have time to wait for this entire thing to dry. I know that there is a method of applying terps or metho to a piece before you put stain on to spot any of those glue spots. With Hardwax, I find that I can just do this just as easily. When it comes to doing the cabinet itself, I'm going to try and be really systematic, and I'm going to do one entire face, rub off any excess, move to the next face, and so on. That means that there's not one area where a whole bunch of stain has been sitting for a really long time, and it means that I don't miss any bits. You want to apply kind of as little oil as you can because we're going to be wiping off the excess. So we're just trying to reduce wastage, and it feels obscene to be throwing away 30% of your oil in a bunch of rags that you've just bought a whole tin of oil. So yeah, apply it as thinly as possible and then you're not wiping it all off. In terms of the amount of finish that I used, this project used about 1.5 litres, so almost a whole tin. This piece has a lot of surface area, even though it's quite small. But generally on almost any full-size furniture piece project, I budget a full tin of 2 litres. Sometimes I'll use less, but if you are wiping finish off, then you're inherently just throwing a lot of it away. So you want to apply it as thinly as possible. If you try and put a whole lot of pigment onto a piece of timber, often you get areas that just really unevenly stained, especially around big knots. You'll find that areas where the grain is more open, it's absorbed way more stain and just goes way darker. You'll find that especially if you're using a really thin alcohol-based stain. In this instance, I actually mixed some alcohol stain at about 30% dilution with a Hardwax with Evolution. And that allowed me to make a much more viscous mixture, which didn't absorb as rapidly into those pores. And it was also way more diluted, so the color pigmentation was less, and we had less of that blotchy absorption that we get sometimes from using like a really intense alcohol-based stain. Generally, I find when you're applying anything with pigmentation, brush marks or roller marks show up way more than just a clear coat. So if I can, I always try and do my stain coat as a wipe-off coat, which means you need a lot of clean rags. You need a finish that is suitable for wiping off, and Evolution works really well for that. I would never apply finish onto a piece like this when it was fully constructed like this. Everything gets taken apart. So drawers come out, the runners are unscrewed from the drawer boxes and the case itself. Doors are removed and done separately. The lids are taken off, hinges are taken off, handles are taken off. Everything is laid out on a clean surface on some taped triangular bearers, which I use all the time for finishing stuff like this. And that means that I can do both sides really easily. The thinner the coat you're putting on, the less likely you are to get lines left by whatever the surface is that you're resting this on. If you're doing a really thick coat, you're more likely to see a line where this has been sitting on a bearer or a stick. The entire process of finishing a piece like this, of this size and this complexity, not including the initial sanding, but from the time that I'm putting the first coat of stain on to now, is probably 9 or 10 hours. So it's the kind of work that you've got to take your time. When I went to apply the clear coat, after all the stain had dried and I buffed it all back, there are some areas that I did not wipe that clear coat back. I left a thicker layer that I applied just with the roller. Those areas are the big flat areas that have the potential for higher wear. So the top here got just a rolled on layer that was not wiped off. And the very front of the drawers here just got a layer that was rolled on without being wiped off. Any ornamental detail, I really wipe that off because I find you're more susceptible to see brush marks. But if any of it looks too thin, you can always just reapply another thin coat afterwards. Just make sure that you've really let it dry. The thicker the coat you apply of this stuff, Evolution specifically, the longer it takes to dry. And you really need to make sure that the first coat is completely dry and you're getting a really good fine white powder when you're using your sandpaper to buff between coats. If you're not getting that white powder on the sandpaper, it is not ready to reapply. So don't try, because that's when you have to refinish an entire piece. Thanks so much for watching. There are some links below to some of the products I've used, including the Evolution Hardwax oil, some stop loss bags, and also the Mirka Abranet really fine sandpaper mesh that I use to buff between coats. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll have another one of these videos coming out every week where I'll be showing you something else that's going on in my workshop or some interesting process. If there was some part of this process that you're interested in, some specific joinery method or part of the construction that you want to see more of, let me know. If I've rushed through anything and you need more details, just put a comment down below and we will absolutely get back to you, because we're making these often, so we always need things to show you. So let us know what you want to see. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.